Okay, my computer says 9:59, but my watch says 10 o'clock, so I'm gonna call the Harrison County Commission meeting for Wednesday, February 5th, 2025 to order, and if you will rise and join us in the invocation and pledge, please.
Almighty ever living God, who governs all things, both on heaven and on earth, mercifully hear our plea for your people and bestow on us peace in our time. Holy Spirit, come. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There was no one signed up to speak publicly. Is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak publicly? Anyone on Zoom wish to speak publicly? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. What's the pleasure? Motion to approve consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Payroll change notices A through G, and I think we are taking one off. Is that correct?
Yes, Madam President. I need to pull F, Michelle McCauley.
Okay. Motion to approve 3A through E and G. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 4, minutes and or amended minutes of previous meetings, A through C. Motion to approve 4A through C. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 5, requisitions, purchase orders, invoices, A, B, C, and D. It's a pleasure. Motion to approve number 5A through D. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. We have exoneration, corrective tickets, joint application, property applications. It appears we just have exonerations as shown on Exhibit A. Motion to approve number 6A. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 7, consideration of approval of a project fund requisition for the payment of costs associated with the project to be financed from proceeds of the Series 2019 bonds issued for the Charles Point Economic Opportunity Development District Series 2021 A and B Development District Number 3, White Oaks Project Number 2, and Series 2008A Charles Point Number 2, Northland Bay Improvements A and B. What's the pleasure? Motion to approve number 7, A and B. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. I'd like to go ahead and do the proclamation before.
Madam President, I should vote no on that.
Vote no on what?
7.
Oh, okay. Okay, motion carried. Now.
Make sure the record reflects that I voted no.
Everyone is here for the proclamation, right? Get that. Y'all want to come up? That's what I should have done. I tell you, this is my pleasure to present this. You don't know. And I don't mean to make this about anybody else but Jim today. But I know Tommy and Jim were very close, and actually Tommy had brought a spear back to Jim from Africa, and they just brought that to me, which I appreciate it immensely. I do. But this is Jim's bag. Whereas James S. Jarrett began his public service career by joining the Shinnston Fire Department in October of 1967, starts at 62, and has held the following ranks in the department: lieutenant, training officer, assistant chief, deputy chief, and fire investigator. And whereas James S. Jarrett was the first WVU certified fire instructor and the first certified MSA repairman in the Shinnston Fire Department and in Harrison County. And whereas James S. Jarrett was the first deputized West Virginia State Fire Marshal and the first to implement emergency response mapping within Harrison County. And whereas James S. Jarrett was the instructor for a majority of the fire service classes in Harrison County for 10 years and worked as training officer for the Shinnston Fire Department for 10 years. And whereas James S. Jarrett developed a company numbering system currently in use within Harrison County. And whereas James S. Jarrett began the first central communication center in Harrison County in 1976 and established the first computer-aided dispatch program for service in West Virginia in 1979. And whereas James S. Jarrett initiated the annual awards banquet and the Kevin Grant Hall Award 20 years ago, and also established the annual training weekend for all emergency services. And whereas James S. Jarrett developed the first mutual aid contracts for the use within Harrison County and with agencies outside the county. And whereas James S. Jarrett is the author of the Fire Communications Manual, Volumes 1 and 2, and he served as the architect of the concept of central emergency communications in Harrison County. Now therefore be it resolved that the Harrison County Commission does hereby recognize the many accomplishments in the distinguished public service career of James S. Jarrett. We desire to express the gratitude of all citizens of Harrison County for his lifetime career spent providing the best protection of life and property. A great personal cost and with extreme dedication. We further proclaim this 5th day of February 2025 as James S. Jarrett Day throughout Harrison County. Passed by the Harrison County Commission this 5th day of February 2025. There were a bunch of stories about Jim I don't think I'd ever heard before. And I wish they could have been in here too, because they were, you can tell. Yes, he was a man of many talents.
You would be so proud today, so I want to thank everybody for honoring him. Yeah. Very appreciative that you all did for the county also. Thank you very much.
Right, yeah.
And then so.
How are you? Or leave.
I moved to a big one.
It's good to see you.
See you.
We enjoyed it. One of the best things I did in my shoes was when I met her. We were really proud. Oh, yeah. You know, you're great. They were named something back. That was fine. I say what you see. No, listen, I'm proud to do that. You don't know what
how people spend their time. Here's that whole stuff. I know.
And there's
I
a
know
lot
you
more.
want to remember what
Yeah,
you
yeah.
it's video that you wanted to do, so that I suppose you've seen it. No, you know, I don't think I've ever seen something you said. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, I can do that. I'll see you.
Sorry.
Behave yourself.
Had President Weather walk down there, I'd just say a couple words about it.
Sure.
Just say one of the best things I was ever part of is when this commission, you were there with us. We named the 911 building after him, and you know, people live their lives and they go by, and a lot of us don't know what he's done, but Mr. Jarrett was not only instrumental in making our county safer, but making the whole nation safer, because he spearheaded so many things to protect our first responders and all the people that respond to. So congratulations to the family. I've always been proud that we did that. Certainly something I didn't know about. Matter of fact, I knew Jim Jarrett, but didn't know all the things he'd done. I just thought he was fired. It's amazing, really is.
And we have, during the commission meeting back in those days, he said, you know, I lived here my whole life, but never knew any of this.
All right.
And he suggested we make a video of it. Not sure some of you have seen it, but he's the one who got that started.
I'd sure like to see it. They never said it.
We'll get it to you.
One thing, when we made that video, one thing Jim did, well, a couple of things he did, many,
I was gonna say just a couple.
we don't have enough time.
I know.
There was a young man in Buchanan that had a special, was a little boy, special blood type. Jim, he needed a transfusion to save his life. Jim called around all over the country and found that blood type. Had it flown in to the airport, he got it, drove it to Buchanan, saved the guy's life. And how many here have taken the polio vaccination? A little sugar cubes? That was Jim Jarrett. Yeah, Jim Jarrett got that here.
Thing was Jim, he's the one who did that.
So he touched everybody's lives with that, not to mention everything he did throughout his career.
You know, when you had Jim Jack and that rest of that entourage come up and speak for you, you're an important guy who did a lot. So, that's really something. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, at 10:10, we have the estate hearing of the estate of Raleigh Jackson Neal Jr. That what you're. You have people on both sides. No microphones up here. Yeah, it's all. Okay, are there going to be, is there going to be testimony taken here with regard to this today?
Yes.
Okay. Whoever is
Well,
going,
I'd like to address this. Ms. Garvin sent a witness list. I believe 6 or 7 people were on it. And I know we were only given 10 minutes. And I would like to point out to the commission, in other of these matters, that in other matters like this, usually a separate hearing is set for a separate day, with time blocked off if there are going to be witnesses, things like that. The allegation is that the estate was mismanaged by the administrator. That estate had a fiduciary commissioner who's approved everything, who's actually published. If fiduciary commissioner doesn't see a problem, I don't know that I can argue anything else but that. But I don't believe at this point in time, there are allegations made, and if the county commission wants to hear them, but I believe the county commission should at least consult with the fiduciary commissioner because he did approve everything. We also had Mr. Mazie work on this estate, and you all know his work. So I just wanted to throw that out here, now that I've wasted 2 minutes of our 5 minutes, to decide, for the county commission to decide, and if the county commission would like to have briefs submitted, we can do that. I would like to know the witness testimony, or get a summary of the witness testimony beforehand, because at least from what I saw, there was only one witness that I believe had any direct knowledge of the administration of the estate and could testify to anything other than, I believe all the other witnesses would testify to extraneous matters that are not before the commission. So
Would you like to speak to that?
Sure, that was a lot. First of all, in regard to the notice of the hearing, my witness list was in response to the notice of hearing that was sent by the commission to me, instructing me to do a witness list. And on there, I followed what the commission asked me to do. Mr. Scott could have filed a witness list too, but he did not. All it says is that I just need to disclose any witnesses that are anticipated to be called at the hearing. I don't know how much time the commission has set aside to hear the allegations that were set forth in my petition that I filed, but I mean, my petition is lengthy. There's 41 paragraphs within my petition, and I plan on presenting evidence on each and every one of those in regard to the mismanagement of the estate, as well as the issue of the first will that was provided to the probate office that was accepted. And then later, I guess, was decided that it was not a valid will. And the only way that my client received notice of that was through a letter after his brother became the administrator. So there's a lot to hash out. And I think there's a lot of evidence that needs to be heard by the commission before, excuse me, I've had a cold and sick kids.
I understand.
Before they can make a determination in regard to the request that we set forth in the petition. I don't think it's as simple.
Yeah, I'm learning that. I didn't realize that you were involved, and I did read through the petition somewhat. And so do we want to, I mean, would you all be opposed if it's up to the commission, would want to continue this and set this for another day?
I'm at whatever's best, the commission determines the best way to.
How many witnesses do you have?
I potentially have 3 for today.
There were more than that listed on there, so.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, even if we take 3 witnesses, it's.
I understand, but that's why I'm at, do you have just the,
Mr. Neal at this time.
okay. Okay.
You mean today, sir?
Yeah.
David, at your respect, I'm not ready. I've got to do some homework study. Do you mind if we put off just one meeting? So I can be prepared? There's a lot here. Unless you, I mean, if you want to proceed, I can follow your lead, but. I mean, this young lady and this young man, they represent their clients. They're not a lot at.
And if I could address this, I don't know if you've all had this before. I know with the prior board, which I know you were on, I had one of these, and it was conducted originally by the fiduciary commissioner who made a report to the county commission. A hearing was set aside for almost 4 hours because of the people involved. I don't believe that Ms. Garvin's absolutely right. There are 41 allegations. And if she would, this is just not, I believe, the proper procedure. Now, maybe the procedure was something that was informal or adopted by a prior county commission, but the procedure I went through was a fiduciary commissioner held the hearing, made the recommendation to the county commission, and then if the county commission needed further evidence. But that's, and that.
With all due respect, we could do it either way.
Okay, yeah.
In
Just to address that, I will say that, this is the first time I've done this type of proceeding. I've done another one in front of the commission, and I was very thankful that they heard that issue. I did a lot of research prior to filing this petition, not only here, but also over in the circuit court arena to try to determine what was the proper way to do it and how was the proper way to move forward. I believe, that this is a proper way to move forward. I have no objection if Mr. Scott thinks, that I agree that we need more time than 10 minutes. And I have no objection picking another date in the future if that would, fit the commission's schedule and the time allowance so that they can be heard. I think this is very important for the entire family. It's important for both sides. And I would ask that, the commission, if they don't have time today, to pick a time that they have set aside so they could hear both sides, to make a informed decision in regard to our petition and, what their argument is on their side. Thank you.
My position, Madam President, is that I would like to, follow the lead of the fiduciary, of course, but at the same time, I'd at least like to read it.
Okay, so my question is, if the fiduciary commissioner has approved,
Yeah,
have they approved the settlement?
The fiduciary commissioner published, I believe, Mr. Mays, when was that publication?
November the 8th and November the 15th.
So this has been published. He's accepted everything that's been submitted. The claims period from the publication is now over. Just, this was, any final report has been held pending resolution of this, but I believe.
And that's probably hence her stepping in at this point.
Well, just out of respect, we stepped in way before that. And sent a letter stating our concern about the estate, asked them to not move forward with the estate until we were able to discuss these issues. Things continued. I did another formal letter, things continued. Then we filed our petition, and our petition was filed before any of that, before the publication, before the finalization of the estate. I was assured that everything would be ceased and all activity would be halted until a decision could be made. None of that has occurred. Everything that we have tried to do on our side has been on deaf ears on the opposite side. And therefore this, we believe that this is our only recourse at this point in time, but this process was started way before, back in May, when we provided notice, when we first became aware of the issue with the first will being held invalid without any notification to my client who delivered the will. So this isn't something that occurred after the estate was closed by the fiduciary and published and all that. This was way before.
And I'd like to add, part of the reason we kept this estate going, was because there was, there were two wills offered, neither of which have been accepted. They've been rejected at least as to form, not being in the proper form. And, there was discussion, there were letters sent, things like that. But again, my client's obligation as the administrator of the estate, especially the fiduciary commissioners, is to do his job. And he did that, and he did it with the approval of the fiduciary commissioner.
And with all due respect, that's one of our arguments, is we do not believe he's done his job in accordance to the statute. And therefore we would request a hearing.
you know, do whatever you want to do.
Well, I'm reading, you're looking to reappoint the administrator or another executive of the estate, correct? One of your.
Yes, that's one of the issues, yes.
You're contesting the intestate permit.
That would be.
That would be you. Has anybody submitted the probate? We have that, what they determined.
Yeah, we got the November 8th and 15th, information that we submitted.
I have not looked at the file recently. Again, knowing Mr. Farley, I'm sure when he was done, but we can check the probate file to see what has been sent. I know that Mr. Mazie does have copies of the publications.
So what are we trying to accomplish by
Thank you.
I'll make a suggestion.
Sure.
So what I would suggest the commission do today is find out how much time these attorneys believe they need for a hearing and set a status order indicating there shall be no further action in the estate until this matter is set and decided. Require all the parties 7 days prior to the formal hearing to file a witness list and an exhibit list, as well as providing all of the exhibits to each other and to the commission. It seems like there are a lot of documents here. Let's get the record clear and then proceed accordingly, would be my suggestion.
The only thing I'd ask, there are documents already in the fiduciary file. Would you also want those as us to provide those, or can we just note that they're in the file for the county, the records of the county clerk?
I'd like you to identify them if you're going to use them during the hearing, just like in civil and circuit court. Let's make a clear record.
Yes, sir.
That'd be my recommendation, but it's up to you all.
I like your recommendation.
Sure, we're trying to decide. Normally, we're just deciding executives,
Exactly, yeah.
and. But they're wanting to take it one step further.
Well, the petition relates to appointment and qualification, but the exhibits will help in that framework. And that's what the petition relates to. It sounds like it's probably either way, it's probably going to go outside of our jurisdiction. But what we're going to do is we're going to get you all the evidence. You can make a decision, and then their issues will be framed if they decide to proceed forward.
I think we'll have to do this on
Yeah, that's
a
it.
special meeting.
Yeah. I got it.
How much time do you all need for the hearing?
I would like 2 hours.
2 hours?
I believe 2 hours.
You going to do the status order?
Okay, so we need a motion that a status order be prepared as stated by the attorney. And we will schedule a special meeting for 2 hours within.
Do you want to identify a date or do you want to get
Is there
back?
anything that's pushing you all to make this happen very quickly?
Just getting the estate closed so it can be settled. This estate has been formally or informally in process about a year now, a little over a year. So I'm sure both sides want to get it done as quickly as possible.
A week, 2 weeks? I mean, I assume notices will have to go to all parties involved.
It looks like I have, the only real day I have a conflict is February 27th. I have a medical appointment that I'll be at all day. And I don't know if the county commission wants to do it on a Wednesday or if they want to do it another day of the week.
One of our offline once this gets something, and whichever one to do.
Well, the calendars, I know that Ms. Garvin's client and is in Ohio, my client is in North Carolina.
Do the 26th.
I would ask the county commission, give them leave to participate by video if it's, if they choose to do so. Is the, assuming you have any problem with that?
Or the commission, but Ms. Garvin, do you have any issue with that?
I don't know, to be frank.
Okay.
I mean, if I have documents or things that I would want him to see, I guess if he is by video, I would have to have some means to get them to him or whatever. I don't want to be limited in any type of
No.
examination of him because he is by video, but if he is in a place that he would be able to receive documents, should he not have a copy of them for any reason, I know all of the exhibits would have to be given ahead of time, so I would assume that potentially he would have copies of them where he's at, but that would be my only concern.
Does the 26th at 9 o'clock work?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
No, please, but thank you.
Have it.
I
I know.
apologize.
And you guys standing up, you know.
I have abuse and neglect cases in Ritchie County that morning, which would, I assume take precedent over this if I have to pick one or the other based upon that.
Will that be all day?
No, it is set at 9:45 and 10:15.
So do we want to go at 1 o'clock? Can you do that?
I could, yes.
Okay. I guess we will come back here on the 26th at 1 o'clock.
So Madam President, deadline of the 19th, that we'll need all the paperwork submitted to us so the commissioners have time to review it.
I prefer the. What dates do you want them all in?
The 19th. That way you have it a week prior.
Yeah.
This will add in the motion. The hearing will be the February 26th at 1 o'clock with information to the commission on by
February 19th.
February 19th. Everybody remember what I said? Did I miss something, Mr. Attorney? Okay. Make that motion.
I'll make
the motion as
stated by the commission.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Motion. Passed. Okay. Guess we'll see you on the 26th.
Thank you.
And President, I believe you were in the last one that I had.
More than likely.
Thank you all.
At 10:15, we had, and we will have now, a special funding request from the Flying Wing Nuts for their Carl Hopkins youth.
Morning, Ed Waskey. I'm the COO for Engine and Airframe Solutions Worldwide in Bridgeport, West Virginia, at the airport there, my company. And just a few facts. As you know, the airport here is putting in $1.2 billion to the state economy. And it offers jobs, highly paid technical jobs for approximately getting close to 1,500 technicians. But also with that, you have all the supporting jobs that are needed. And that my company, we have about 20 technicians presently, and we go worldwide fixing business jets and helicopters. Recently, we just got back from Switzerland, Germany, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, the Faroe Islands, Idaho. So you got West Virginia boys going to all these countries and states. I started thinking about this, and I got started in aviation with model airplanes at the age of 6. And we were looking at how can we give back, but also let everybody know what the possibility is here in Bridgeport, West Virginia. I also used to cover, when I worked for Pratt & Whitney, 5 states that I visited all the corporations and helped everybody as a troubleshooter. And also lived in 9 countries before moving to Bridgeport. And so we looked at what would be the best way to get kids interested, let the parents know. And so we started the Carl Hopkins Youth Aviation Expo. And this is what we have displayed there. which is a Clarksburg native. And he started the first model airplane club in 1928. And I'll just read from here. And what's really interesting was Carl said back then that the future of aviation is with our youth. And so shortly after that, as he was working with the youngsters, World War II happened, and West Virginia participated in, through Carl's boys, supporting 70 pilots, bombers, engineer, technicians, navigators, and NASA specialists in the future. Were all related to this club. And so we're on year 5 coming up this year, August 8th and 9th. It's a Friday and a Saturday from 10 to 4. And we have gentlemen and ladies coming in from about 5-6 states coming in also to help this event, which they volunteer. And this is all done off of donations and the companies here and the counties and stuff. So this is a free event. You can see samples of what they walk out with. Not only do they have this when they walked out, every event that we have is hands-on STEM event. So they're learning about aeronautics and the future of what could be done here. And that, so, you know, we're requesting help. Last year, we ran into a little bit of a hiccup with the paperwork issue, which got straightened out. So that's why it's on this year also. And we are putting on another event. And right now, we're looking at a special guest that I just can't reveal the name quite yet because I got to get it 100% confirmed. But it would be somebody be very interesting to talk to. Well, Chuck Yeager, of course, he's passed away, and Victoria is right now looking at coming to support the event. And so I've been talking with her. I just wanted to make sure on how do you want me to politicize this and things like that. So that's what I'm working on.
His widow.
Yeah, his widow. Yeah. And that, so we have for YouTube, if you look up, you search Carl Hopkins, WV Youth Aviation Expo 2024. There's a 3-minute video that gives you a real quick overlook of everything that we do. And it's been a great success with everybody supporting. And the sports complex lets us use the facility. Harrison and Marion County has been great. The airport's been great. And so, we hope to see everybody there, and thank you for your time and stuff. Did I forget anything?
I'm sure she'll tell you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the Black Hawk helicopter comes. Hi, I'm Pat Lofty. The Black Hawk helicopter comes and the kids get on, and the HealthNet helicopters, and they get on, and the pilots all talk to the kids. And we have a Academy of Model Aeronautics simulator trailer where they learn how to fly radio control airplanes, and then they walk down to the soccer field, and all of his buddies from the flying club, that's where the Flying Wing Nuts comes in. They all help them with buddy boxes, actually fly the planes. There's control line flying. There's NASA from WVU, they're rocket building, and then they shoot the rockets off. We had all kinds of, what do you call those things? Paramotors?
We had paramotors, parachutists.
Parachutists. We had kite building this year.
Yeah.
An area for that. We had, it just exposing kids to the hobbies of aviation in a fun way. Planting seeds, get them interested in going to work in aviation, because our airport is hugely growing. I don't think anybody has any idea how big an impact this new terminal is going to have on the place, but we need employees. That's how this all started.
Yeah.
Is motivating kids to get interested in aviation. And we've had hundreds of kids over the 2 days. First year we did it, we had no idea if anybody would show up. And we had, I don't know.
250.
250 that for
I was
kids.
hoping for 50.
But last year we had rain one day, so the numbers were a little bit lighter, but we've had as many as 500-600 kids plus their parents.
Yeah, over the 4 years, we've probably seen a little over 2,000 registered kids but also all the families and the parents. And one of the things that I also bring out when I go to high schools and middle schools is, and these are old numbers, but in 2021, the government is saying that an airline pilot is making 200,000 a year. Flight attendants, 83. Aircraft technicians, 70,000. It's now up to 75,000. Vantage handlers, 45. Security guards, gates, 62. Air traffic controllers, 137,400. So
Why
you
don't
can,
give you $6,000 and let you guys get it done?
pardon me?
I'm a motion to give you $6,000 and you guys have a whole bunch of fun.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
thank you. And it's,
Extra swag. Does anybody have a baby? We have like a little t-shirt, these are left over from last year.
One of the three of us on this bench has a baby, we're gonna have a heart attack.
There you go.
yeah, and we already included Harrison County on there and stuff because it was in work, but and it was one of those things where I got to do something and stuff and get it ordered and that. So it's we enjoy doing it and it's nice to give back, but it's really nice to see everybody's
Creates
Energy.
an interest in aviation, which is what we need to get kids to decide to go into aviation and aerospace as a career.
Well, you know, it's no secret what Commissioner Hinkle and his board have done out at the airport.
Yes.
Everything you said, I
He's
mean.
one of our biggest supporters out there. Thank you.
Commissioner,
I appreciate it very much. Yes.
you scratched the surface. Anyway, will you guys give them some money, please?
Okay, the motion's been made to allocate or to donate $6,000, I think 3,000 for each year. Is there any further discussion? I just want to say, I think it's it is a great program. And I'm excited about it. I know when I talked to you all before, I'll tell you, it's very exciting and I want to come out and see you all.
I want to go on a airboat.
pardon me. I've only got one ear, so
What, I'm sorry?
Take a portion of $6,000, get him hearing aids. And I want to jump in a hot.
won't work. Tried that and that's.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. If there's any
Aye.
further- Did you want to say anything, David? I'm sorry.
No, I just want to say that Ed's been great with this. He and his wife and have just done a great job with this program for kids. Ed, is involved with everything at the airport when it comes to education from Fairmont to Pierpont. And I think,
Going to middle schools.
yeah, he just goes everywhere.
And meeting with STEM program kids, he's invited all the time going to do like building rockets in class. It's crazy. So,
And his company, I mean, I don't know if he cares if I say it, but they just got, NetJets comes in, he's taking care of a major corporation as far as private jets go. So we have NetJets coming in and out of our airport that Ed and his group are taking care of. And it's just impressive, the things that he and his group have accomplished. And this is just one more thing that Ed's worked on.
Yeah,
we are very, very fortunate.
very fortunate to be here and
Doing
to get
good
back.
stuff out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, NetJets is the creme of the creme. You know, don't put that in paper. We do have a big contract with them and more coming. And we're trying to gear up to hire more technicians and things are just booming.
yeah, we just hired 4 technicians in the last 60 days.
And we
4
need,
more.
and we need more. So we're growing, and that's good for the airport. because
Right.
They all buy fuel.
Yep.
All these airplanes that come in here.
It's good for the county.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that makes money for the county, so.
Well, thank you so much and
Thank
and
you.
hope to see you in August
So,
and that.
thank you very much for your help.
Bye, guys.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Madam President, if
none.
I just might add, while we're on this topic, that Aviation Expo is August 8th and 9th. I just wanted to get it out there that those are the
I want
dates
to put
for
that
the
on
year.
our website too.
We're going to,
Okay,
we talked about putting that YouTube link
right, that's what I was,
and the dates for the new one on.
okay. Okay, is that it for? Okay. Now we will move to number 8. Review, discuss, consider proposed application for relief from erroneous assessment related to CED assessments due and payable for the 2017 tax year, 2018 tax year, 2019 tax year, 2021 and 22 tax year. Charles Point potential executive session pursuant to 69A 4B9 to consider matters involving or affecting the purchase, sale, or lease of property, advanced construction planning, the investment of property, public funds, or other matters involving commercial competition, which if made public might adversely affect the financial or other interests of the county. And I see, no.
Madam President, I would request that this item be tabled. I've talked to the prosecutor. She's been looking over the information. There's a lot that she was given. So I would request at this time that it be tabled.
Motion to table item number 8 as stated by the county administrator. Is there any discussion?
Yes, ma'am, I would also like to make a motion that we go into executive session and discuss it.
We have Patsy's motion on the floor. So we vote on that one, then take yours up, correct? Okay. All in favor of Commissioner Treecost's motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Now we have Mr. Hinkle's motion to go into executive session to discuss this matter. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, motion carried. And who do we want in the executive session? Anybody or just?
And Tommy.
So the motion is amended to include.
You guys don't want me?
I know.
EODD chairman?
Number 9. Review, wait, that's what there's no action to be taken on 8. Review, discuss, consider approval of a requisition for payment from Series 2019 C Excise Tax Bonds Project Fund Number 39 for the County Commission's $17,600,000 Junior Subordinate Special District Excise Tax Revenue and Improvement Bonds Series 2019 C Charles Point Economic Opportunity Development District, and the execution and delivery of such requisition potential executive session pursuant to 69A 4B9 to consider matters involving or affecting the purchase, sale, or lease of property, advanced construction planning, the investment of public funds, or other matters involving commercial competition, which if made public might adversely affect the financial or other interests of the county. What's a pleasure? Motion to approve. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Hearing none, motion carried. Number 10, review, discuss, consider adoption of a resolution and order of the county commission which would approve the execution and delivery of a second supplemental indenture of trust by the county by and between the county commission and UMB Bank N.A. as trustee as amended and restated Series 2019 C Excise Tax Bond and related documents in order to extend the period of time available to requisition costs of project to fund a corresponding amount of amended and restated Series 2019 C Excise Tax Bonds for the County Commission's $17,600,000 Junior Subordinate Special District Excise Tax Revenue and Improvement Bonds, Series 2019 C, Charles Point Economic Opportunity Development District, and this would be potential executive session as stated in the previous agenda item. What's the pleasure? Motion to approve as read. Is there any discussion?
Yes, ma'am, why are we extending this?
So we had the original 2019 bonds had a 3-year period in which to or at least one way to read the document is that there was a 3-year period to requisition funds for credit into the project fund and therefore the principal amount of the bonds. That period has been exceeded. And so there are additional costs that have been incurred and are sought to be requisitioned into those bonds. And so in order to do that, it would be my recommendation to handle that by extending the 3-year date to December 31st of 2025.
Second extension.
This is the first one. First one. Yes,
22.
like August of 2022. Yes,
So we approved some last year.
it was the same issue.
We approved those without an extension.
The document can be read to do that, but a conservative approach would be to revise the date to extend it. And I had this discussion after that requisition with the trustee who has still not credited those amounts, the prior requisition into the bonds. And I said, hey, the commission approved this, but there's this 3-year date in the document. The best approach would be to revise the date. And he indicated to me that they'd feel more comfortable that we do that before they would credit any of those requisitions into the bonds.
So it's just, we're going backwards, catch those,
That one,
that one.
yeah,
In this agreement and extending it out till 25
yes.
and then we're done.
It would, that would get us, I believe, to the principal amount of the bonds. So if there were to be any additional amounts, the commission would have to separately agree to increase the principal amount of those bonds.
So why are we giving the artificial dates that it distantly accomplishes that number?
It's customary to have a date. I think it's good to have a means of monitoring the situation, to have a date, and for the commission to have some leverage over timing and the project to have a date. And that way, if the developer proposes to exceed it, then we have a conversation like we are now with respect to that.
And if they could exceed the 17,600,000.
They can't, not without increasing, without the commission agreeing to increase the principal amount of the bonds.
This document covers what we did back in December.
Yes.
We
Just extending it.
the documentation for when we agreed to extend or to set those requests to be to the bond, we did not have actual paperwork saying to do so, like we do now for a request to extend.
Correct. I mean, like I said, I had a conversation with the trustee when that was pending, that before they credited that amount, that this was a potential issue and I read the document to allow them to do it, but it would be preferable to probably amend the document so that there would be no question about the propriety of it.
So trustees all right with this, and
Yes.
if the trustee does not give them credit, where does that leave them?
I mean, I read the document to say that the trustee really doesn't have any discretion, that if the developer submits a requisition and it's approved by the EODD and it's approved by the county and submitted, then at that point, it's a ministerial act to credit that amount into the bond.
That's all the questions I have.
Thank you, Tom. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Number 11, review, discuss, consider approval of an engagement letter between the County Commission and Ballard Spar LLP pursuant to which the law firm of Ballard Spar, am I pronouncing that right, I hope, would be engaged to provide special tax counsel services to the County Commission with respect to the outstanding Series 2008 property TIF bonds and the Series 2019 excise tax bonds and any additional obligation issued by the county commission with respect to the Charles Point project, including but not limited to the restructuring or refunding of such obligations. And this could also go into potential executive session pursuant to the previous two other agenda items. It's a pleasure.
Madam President, conditioned upon parties reaching a written agreement in principle to reconstructure. Motion to engage Ballard Spear for the purpose of retaining necessary tax options regarding requisition number 38 and 39 to the excise tax TIF series 2019 C bonds and the anticipated reconstruction of the 2008 property TIF tax TIF bonds and the 2019 excise tax TIF bonds issued by the county for the Charles Point Economic Opportunity Development District, and further that the commission anticipates being reimbursed all such costs from bond proceeds.
Okay, I'm not going to try to repeat that motion. Does anybody have any questions about the motion or discussion?
Well, yes, ma'am. I don't understand who this gentleman is. And, maybe Tommy, you could explain who you asked us to hire.
So this is Fred Williams. He is a tax attorney, and he's also what I would call a Section 103 expert, which is the area that deals with tax exempt status of municipal bonds. Fred got his law degree from WVU and got his LLM in Florida in taxation, worked a while with the state tax department, and then went out west in Arizona, worked for about 10 years at a firm out there doing a lot of tax exempt bond work, then came back and worked with us at Steptoe for probably, I don't know, probably 15 years or so. So he's kind of supported our tax practice for bond work. Fred handled the tax work for the 2008 bonds for Charles Point and the 2019 bonds for Charles Point. So he's very familiar with the project and the development. He's now has gone back out west and is with the Ballard Spahr firm. He's a very reputable firm in municipal bonds and tax status of municipal bonds. So he's an expert in the field and also familiar with the Charles Point project. So that's why I would suggest to once again engage Fred, because to bring someone else in to another tax, you need a tax lawyer. I mean, this is a complicated situation. You're going to need a tax lawyer. To bring someone who's familiar with the history is going to, I know his billing rate's high, but given his experience and his knowledge with this situation, I think he'd actually save you a lot of money as opposed to hiring someone with a lower billing rate.
And there's no conflict of interest. Has he been through that yet?
Yes, he has. He's prepared to accept the engagement.
And as far as retainer deposit.
He's not requesting a retainer.
That we're responsible for payment if this doesn't work out.
The commission will be responsible for payment. I've talked to the trustee's attorney about the need to bring Fred in. He agrees. And if this crosses certain thresholds in his mind, then I think they're willing to look at taking over the billing and paying for Fred's services. But between now and getting to that point, the commission would have to pay his monthly billings.
But Tommy, as in the past, bond offerings, you know, with White Oaks and Charles Point, you know, we've been reimbursed for the cost of payment on the proceeds of bonds proceeding always. Right?
Correct.
That's a bond sale.
Right.
The bond
Correct.
doesn't sell. We're responsible for this. And if we're at the mercy of the bondholder, if they want, hey, we have no agreement stating that if they like what they see, they'll pick it up.
That's correct.
And we're gonna pay this gentleman $900 some dollars an hour. Open it.
Pending
Pending an
agreement.
Pending. Pending an agreement.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna,
I don't know that Fred will proceed on that basis.
he's not gonna, as long as we understand, he's not gonna go to work.
Right, that's the, yeah.
He's not going to work unless there's no agreement, there's no work.
Okay, I just want your motion, I wasn't sure that that was actually what we came to, so I think I'm on that page with you, that if somebody wants to hire Fred other than us and write that check, I'm all for it, but if we're gonna write that check, I think Mr. Treecost is saying that we need to see where they've got this worked out, if there's a reason to hire him. Is that what you're saying, Patsy?
Yeah, because we all agree that this should work out between Genesis and the bondholders, the potential. And, you know, with this is just astronomical. Alone with the hospital, if we can move $500,000 and 2% tax, our city that's rolling right now. It's the city of cities in the state of West Virginia. Why wouldn't we want them to have that opportunity to have great health care and benefit from it financially? And it's just incredible what the potential.
So I would just say that to fully get us all on the same page, this does present a possible situation where we would come to terms on a restructure, and then we would have Fred review the situation, and he would come back and say that it doesn't work.
Well, Tony, we have to see that, but right now we know that everything's in place for this to work out. Everybody's doing their due diligence, everybody's conceding everything they can to appease everybody. I mean, given an extension months ago, or now saying that, I mean, who doesn't want this to work? I mean,
Okay.
I thought the city of Bridgeport has received $50 million in infrastructure, and this on top of that.
Yeah, that's all, that sounds good. I won't be able to get Fred to look at any of these issues until we have a comprehensive solution. And then,
I guess what would Fred look at if you don't have a comprehensive solution?
Right.
Yeah.
the incrementals, like what's being proposed, so that we don't go spend a lot of time, examining possibilities and possible restructuring options that he's going to tell us don't work. So we spend 40 hours exploring something, and then we come to agreement on that, and then he looks at it and
And then
says
they
it
don't
doesn't
agree.
work.
And that's the job. I mean, is he the one that needs to resell these bonds?
Yes, but he's going to be relying on Fred's tax opinion.
I guess that's where we're at, is that we're gonna pay for a tax opinion.
For everybody.
All this negotiating's going on every time you guys change something that you think we should go to
Fred.
and Fred will evaluate it and come back and say, no, that's not gonna work.
Correct.
And then you guys go back and sit at the table, and Fred keeps charging us $900 and some dollars an hour every time he takes a phone call or looks at an email from you, and next thing we know, we have Fred $200,000.
And we're still at a
And
stalemate.
we're still at stalemate.
I mean, that's how would you have it work? I mean, how do you want it to work? You want somebody else to pay his his fees or, I mean.
I mean, is this work that he's going to do, relevant to getting an agreement between everybody? I guess that's
yes.
the bottom
I
line.
think if
Yeah,
Mr.
well,
Carpenter
that's-
wants to make it part
course.
of the agreement with Genesis that we get reimbursed for everything, sure. I mean, we're willing to do that, but we need it in writing. I mean, there's millions of dollars on the table here.
I
With
mean-
the opportunity to exceed money that I can't even understand. So. If he's, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so,
I mean,
I think what I'm gathering is that we'd like a little comfort back to us that we keep spending this money. That the parties are
Working.
working and gonna come to a conclusion because. Well, I'm not gonna discuss what we discussed in there, but we know where you're at on billing and what you've exceeded and. And I'm not even gonna go back to where this thing first started, almost 2 years ago. When we agreed to extend the tip in 2 years, we've spent a lot of money. And I know the other party would spend money, but we're using tax dollars to do this from the taxpayers.
and that is true, but on the other side of that, we use taxpayers' dollars for everything we do.
I understand.
But at
but-
some point,
But
we have to.
what we need now is an agreement and Mr. Carpenter to understand what.
so if the bondholders would agree that you all pay his fees, then if there's a successful restructure of the bonds, then you all would be reimbursed.
If you want us to float the money, absolutely, but we want our money back.
But I
with
don't
the
think, I
proceeds.
don't think, Patsy, do you wanna pay this bill if it doesn't happen?
Right. That's the whole point, and
They're not gonna do that.
I mean. That's the issue is I don't care about floating if I know we're gonna get it back, but
right, I don't either.
I
I don't
mean,
have a problem, but
if
Well,
you take a 40-hour work week, and I'll just make it easy, $1,000, and the next thing you know, you're into this 3 or 4 months. And the way
So-
you guys, the way everybody keeps going back and forth and this, let's face it, and all the parties are here, this thing's been discussed now for way over a year.
We frankly, the only hiccup, David, is the city of Bridgeport, and we voided that.
Well, that's,
We voided that information, we cannot seem to receive.
it was supposed to be sent. I was told it was going to be
it's part
sent.
of a hiccup, there's a lot of hiccups. I think that's but I just need to, I guess what I'm. You guys can keep negotiating and he can keep going, nope, yep, nope, yep, nope, yep, and then the two parties will sit down and say, I still don't like what this one did, and this one says, I don't like what this one did, and we're stuck with an attorney bill.
All right, so we're only going to get someone to come, given the nature of the situation, and it's a restructure of existing bonds with no sale that's really going to occur to a new party that's going to be brought in. Any counsel that's going to be brought into this situation is going to insist on being paid by hourly billing. Okay, they're-
You usually get paid after.
well, but
They
this.
only get the proceeds.
This is different because this is a restructure. It's not a new project. This isn't a typical situation. So you're only going to find somebody to do this work on an hourly billing basis. So then it becomes who's going to pay him to do the work as we're going. And so you all are suggesting that you don't want to do that. So he has to represent the county. It's not going to work. I mean, that's who tax council represents as the issuer. So he's going to have.
I understand that, but I guess what we're still saying is the parties are gonna banter it back and forth, and we're just gonna sit up here and see an invoice and just keep saying, pay it, pay it, pay it, and we have know that the parties are.
And
going
it still
to-
might not get
might not
resolved.
come to resolve, then we're sitting here with a monster. bill
Taxpayers' dollars.
Yeah.
That we didn't accomplish anything. And that's, I think that's something that we have to be cognizant of, that we're just not gonna spend this money without something coming from it. I think that the parties that are trying to work this deal out need to cover that, make sure that we're covered with the cost, no matter what the outcome is.
All right, so a little unusual, a bit of an unusual situation here.
Oh,
But-
it's all normal.
The developer is willing to cover the legal work for Fred that's necessary to review the two requisitions that the county has approved, this one from today and the C-bond requisitions.
Okay.
So that would cover that part of it, up to $10,000. It won't be that much, but up to $10,000.
Okay, I'm just, no, and I'm not picking on you, Mike, or.
I don't charge anything, so you can't.
That's more than fair. I mean, I don't know. what-
And if Patsy wants to make amended that these two items that we hiring on right now, but it's not to engage in past looking at those.
Yeah.
Two items.
Yeah, because what we gotta do is get past these two agenda items here
To move on,
Yeah, not number
right?
9 and 10. And then that way, the 10,000.
So I just want to make sure that we all understand the impact of what you're telling me is
Let's take care of these two. and
I've
come
got to
back.
go.
10 hours of this gas time.
I've got to go back. I've got to go back basically to the bondholder and tell him that, hey, if we're going to continue these discussions, you guys are going to have to pay our tax lawyer. That's the effect of what I'm hearing, just so we're on the same page. That could cause all of this to stop.
Sure. Pops in a heartbeat. He pays the bill, or he and the developer pay the bill. I mean, I think it's commission, we're not gonna.
Okay.
Balk at that.
All right. So I've just, my job is to try, my job is to try to explain the consequences. I believe that I feel as though I've done that. So it's your all's decision, and I would respect your decision.
Do you understand the message you're relaying back to them? So we're still in and support this greatly. 100%. I do. 100%.
I do too.
But it's time to get an agreement. And then if we have to put taxpayers' money in once there's an agreement, and we know what's gonna come from that, because we all know what's coming from that. And I hope a bondholder is smart enough to know that. He sure as heck can't be in that position and not know what the hell he's doing.
Yes. Okay.
So,
All right.
so the implication here is everything from saving lives to people making a great living to better education. I mean, I could just keep on going and going and going. So what we're saying is we're in the game. It's time for everybody to get
Yeah.
home. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
All
This is
right.
drug
Sure.
out. This is drug out forever.
You have something to add, Michael? Go ahead.
As the chairman of the EODD district, I just want to say that this is typical. This is how we've always done these type of transactions on restructurings, how it was done the last time.
But not.
What I would suggest is that maybe you put a cap on Ballard Spar's fees so that this transaction can go forward, because he's going to get an agreement. There's going, the two parties, or however many parties there are here, are going to come together with an agreement. Then he's going to look at it from a tax exempt perspective to make sure what they're doing maintains the tax exempt status of the bonds. I don't think it's going to be, at least at first, that there's no agreement, but can you give us an opinion on this? I mean, they're going to come to an agreement on the restructuring, and he's going to give a tax opinion, which is necessary for the restructuring to go forward. I mean, I understand the concern, but we're not talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars here. I mean, I think Tommy told me the bill for the last restructuring was somewhere.
He ends up charging about $50,000.
Yeah. So, and I mean, that's a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but we've spent a lot more money, and when I was commissioner, wasted some more money. So what I'm suggesting is engaging so that the transaction can go forward, so that all parties can go forward and come to resolutions going to allow this development to be completed, which is the best development in the entire county. This and White Oaks are two of our bright spots in this county, bringing a lot of jobs, a lot of business. We don't want to put a roadblock up when there's enough roadblocks up already. If we get past those roadblocks, that's when Ballard Spar is going to spend money. They're not going to do it while they're hashing out whether Bridgeport's going to continue to try to squeeze money out of Charles Point for, some fanciful cost in the future. That's going to be resolved before you ever get to the point that Ballard Spar is going to be incurring any fees on behalf of the restructuring itself. Those
But that's
issues will be
my-
resolved.
That's the point though, Michael. Are we gonna need him until, right up till you figure out the agreement?
Well, you're going to need him and you want him to be
But I mean,
engaged.
but are we, is he going to be billing us during that time period? Because that's what I think. I didn't.
Yeah, and I'll
my
let Tom
understanding
speak
was
to
he
that. I
would
don't want to
not.
speak out of turn, but I don't think he will do anything on the restructuring until there's at least
So that's what. we're
agreement
trying to
on the
do.
restructuring terms
That's what
because he
we're
won't be
trying
able
to
to
say.
look at it. Yeah,
That's
well, I
what
think
we're-
that's automatic though.
I don't think that's the impression I got from Mr. Amon, that
Well,
He
again,
will
I'll
have-
let him speak.
Because that's
he'll
what I
have to
was under
float
the
stuff to
understanding.
Yeah.
both parties to
talk to
see if.
I mean, there
it
may be a
makes
question
sense.
come up or something that he would say, yeah, you can go that route. But he's not going to be looking at the entire transaction spend. So what I'm again suggesting is engaging, you're going to get a monthly billing. If it, if you get a bill that you go, my God, there's not even a deal and I've got a $10,000 bill here, but
That's
put
the
a cap.
problem.
Yeah,
That's
put
the
it,
problem.
but put a cap on it.
Because we've
so
already
with-
got, so there's a lot of.
You got to be able to
technical-
consult with him though. And you're not going to incur a $10,000 bill for,
I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. And the reason I agree with you is because I see the potential here. And for how many sakes, we got a $20 million project getting ready to go right behind the Exxon right now. So you're gonna do some major assessing yourself. And it's exciting for me and our county and our central West Virginia, because everybody's coming here. But my point to you is I agree, we'll put it, his generosity is his 10, and what I spent $6,000 to make sure we have a wonderful weekend just now. I'm willing to put 10, I'll make my motion to match his 10, but we're not exceeding it, Michael. And $20,000, and you said something about wasting money. I've never voted to waste a dime of taxpayers' money, ever. In my mind. If I did, it was an accident, I apologize.
yeah, I refer to
But I'll
my
match-
commission, not yours. So
I'll match him with my motion. If he's gonna put in 10, we'll put in 10, and that is $20,000. And in my world, it's not a lot of money.
well, that's what I'm saying. If you put a cap on it. So if you have it,
In my motion to put a $10,000 cap.
and I think
But we're
that.
not spending it.
Let me just explain that to Tom so he understands. If you put a $10,000 cap on it and Tom comes back and says, well, we've consulted with him in trying to get an agreement on this restructuring and we're reaching the end of the 10, then I think you can then assess what progress they made and how close they are to an agreement to authorize some more. But I think that by setting a cap and allowing him to be engaged on the restructuring, he can begin work. And then when it comes to the point where you're going to exceed that amount, then we come in and we have another conversation, see if you want to go a little further. But that's a good way to keep track of legal fees.
Second you said,
That works.
so I'm willing,
Yeah,
I'm
gives you
willing to throw it in.
I think that works, Commissioner. Thank you.
Question for clarity. So if the developer is willing to do 10,000 and we're willing to put whatever cap on it.
10.
Should the developer give us money that we hold in a line item for this? Because if I'm understanding things right, the tax council is going to work for the county commission. You don't want to muddy the water when a check's paying him from the developer. and the check
That's up to you guys.
From the county commission.
Yeah, I think to be clear, the developer's 10, as I understood, it covers the tax opinion on the two requisitions, which is necessary to make sure it maintains
There's your 30.
maintains the tax exempt status of the bonds. And then, if they're going to allow the excess to go to this next phase,
What Tommy needs to do now is we've got them putting in their 10, us putting in our 10. There's a third party here, Scrumbreaker. And he's the reason we're here in the first place.
Well, as I said before, he has expressed some willingness that once this gets to a certain threshold, like we have an agreement, then he indicated some willingness to pick up Fred's services at that point. So if $20,000 gets us to that point, then perhaps $20,000 gets us to that point, and then the bondholder could take us across the finish line at that stage.
who's going to have an agreement here?
We agree. Fair.
Okay.
Okay.
You're
Fair.
gonna,
So we're gonna amend that motion to be exactly as read, but with a $10,000 ceiling.
$10,000.
To
And
match.
Genesis then will reach with, get agreement with you, Laura, as administrator, to create a $20,000 pot.
Yeah, so I understand the commissioner's motion to be that the commission is approving engaging Ballard Spar pursuant to the terms of the engagement with the modification that the first $10,000 of fees would be covered by the developer. And then the next 10,000 would be covered by the commission. And then the remainder of his fees would be covered by the bond transaction or the trustee or some other party, absent the commission agreeing to increase its commitment at
With
that
the
point.
If they stick 2 shovels in the ground and start building interstate and a hospital, then we'll be more flexible later, because we're not gonna
Sure.
say stop.
Yeah,
We get there.
yeah.
To what Jamie offered though was he would pay to have the C bonds.
Well,
looked at.
I think they just increased their commitment to the general $10,000. I knew if I did that.
Cause I don't want, that mean, cause that's,
Okay.
that he stipulated those 2 particular items in his. Okay, all
That's just,
right, so I just didn't want him to come back and say that's not what he agreed to, cause that's not what he agreed to 5 minutes ago. but-
Tom said.
Okay, all right, just as long as,
Thanks.
yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you understood and we understood that when
everybody's on the same page.
on the same page, because
When I said that, I was looking for a reaction. I knew I would get a reaction.
I'm sure, because when you said it,
Yeah,
I was expecting a reaction to go, it's not what I said, so,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed?
No,
Can you repeat that? No, I'm just joking.
no, you guys know how I feel about this.
I know.
Everybody goes back.
Oh, boy. Okay, where are we on number 12? Okay,
Move to table number 12.
okay, motion has been made to table number. Thank you, Mr. Raymond.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you, James.
I'm the only guy here for free. Somebody thank me.
I thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. Okay, number 12, motion to table. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 13, review, discuss, consider approving budget and location for new animal control facility.
Madam President, motion to locate our new animal control facility on the 40 acres off of Route 910, formerly known as the Ellis Drive-In property.
Okay, motion's been made to locate the new animal control facility on the 40 acres, the old Ellis property. Is there any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Hearing,
Do we have a budget yet for this project?
no, not really.
Okay,
I mean, we have,
The original budget for the project was $2.9 million.
okay, but they haven't given us an updated,
We have not revised it since we are changing location.
okay. So that was my.
but you know
main
about
question.
where you're looking anyways.
Okay,
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 14, review, discuss, consider approving to go out to bid for an architect for livestock facility.
Administrator, I just want you to pass this down, Commissioner Hinkle and yourself. You've already done that. When I saw that, I was confused. I went to my, I like that. And we did that on May 3rd, 2023.
For the livestock?
Betsy, evidently we did not enter into a contract. So due to the time lapse, I would like for us to go back out again.
Did their due diligence, it's not their fault, we didn't. We wanted that we change site, we change site, we change site. No way. Up to that, Mark, that's it.
Or at least it needs to be looked into. I'd say at the least. Then come back and let us know what you find.
I asked for it to be back on the next agenda.
Okay, so no action to be taken on 14 other than put on the next agenda, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Number 15, review, discuss, consider approving to go out to bid for an architect for a master plan for Route 19 property.
I want to follow the lead on this. I don't think we need to get that. I think we need, make a motion to begin the process, the 5G process, to engage on a on-call engineering firm for all of our projects. And then that way we can start speeding things up. We're constantly doing the same. We never get off the first base. Let's run the bases these next couple of years. Let's get some stuff done. But I think we need it, like we have Chad on, Hannah for the Ultra, we have Trey on retainer for what legal, this just, let's have let's have somebody take care of 19, take care of the elevators, take care of the roof, take care of the moving basement, take care of everything.
I think on that 40 acres, Patsy, I think we need to really look at a company that,
I agree, but I want to, but with whoever that company is gonna be on call for all our projects. If you.
well, there's some companies that are great in this department, but I wouldn't recommend them for figuring out an elevator.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you this.
Right.
This is your idea. Why? Too different today than before.
No,
What's
but
that?
he's got different items.
No, I mean, this is what David's wanted before, when we were in the old building, all encompassing.
Oh, you mean a engineer that works?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but an engineer that works, if that's what you want to do, they only come up with to go out and to work with the businesses. They don't actually do the design work. We don't have anybody that oversees what we need done, which an engineer that works would do. So
Cost is money, man.
I understand that, but those are,
We have one, and then we can make part of the contract if they give us a proposal we don't like, that we go ahead and go out there, for 5G.
And number 22 is an agenda item for McKinley's proposal for the master plan for the Route 19 property.
They don't have that. They just have the design and build.
No, they have a plan for the whole property,
So
correct?
they are proposing a plan for the master plan for the whole entire property, which we were able to have them give us a proposal for you guys to look at and approve, because the animal control facility will sit on that property, and that's how they're able to lay it out.
That doesn't entitle them to do anything but the animal control. So.
Right, but they'll do the master plan to say, okay, here's where animal control goes, here's where youth livestock goes, and so
Well,
on and so
We have to
forth.
bid that out 5G. We just can't say you got it, but you're building the design of the building. Hopefully they're working on the design of the building, and hopefully Thrasher's working on the design of the barn.
Well,
Master plan's a whole separate third piece.
in talking to our legal Trey, and we can get him on the phone, he said that we could put this under them without having to go out to 5G for this. So if we're going out to 5G for a master plan, then it's going to delay everything, waiting for a company to come back.
Actually, it's not. You just put it out for 2 weeks in the newspaper. We'll get a 3-person, don't get frustrated with me like that. We put it out to bid for a 2-week thing. We get a committee to go over it, and we have a master plan company working for us within April 30th. I mean, within March 30th. It's not rocket science, it's just a process. We just have to get crumping on things. Absolutely, McKinley is not in charge of the master plan. Never did they bid on that, and never have we spoken to them about that. They were talking, McKinley and Associates has nothing.
Yes,
agreement
well,
with
they
us
have,
to do
Laura has
anything but
spoken to
design
them
that.
about that,
Fine.
yeah.
I agree that they may have spoke about, but there's no legal documentation that they're designing anything but.
No, that's what this is all about.
Right, so we need a master plan version. And that if they wanna bid on it, they can bid on it, but they can't just say, hey, we'll do it. This isn't a paper route. That's why I said we need an all-encompassing team to start doing all these things.
And I'm okay if we want to do that, Patsy, and we'll put that out to bid to our companies here in the county to come in and give a presentation to be our person for all that.
I always hope it's our county people, David, because.
Well, we have enough of them in the county. I mean, there's probably 5 or 6.
Somebody outside the county is more qualified, that's who we have to go with.
Well, I think the problem with that, as always, is trying to get something done with them when they're not within your. They can't show up to your office that week or that day. I think it's not worth the effort.
Well, I understand what Laura's saying, and I agree with her, but there has, you can't budget a 5G process. That's how you get in big trouble. That's why we're.
So you want to take 15, 16, 17, 18 and turn those all into hiring one company to come in and look at all of it.
Absolutely, because one of the things we have to do today, sir, and one thing with Commission President gets the agenda, is we have to put out immediately the 2-week notice in the newspaper to get these elevators. And then much like if we have to get creative, like we have with the cruisers, because we can't, borrow money in a sense, we've got to figure out with somebody how to get 2 new elevators and pay them over the course of time.
May I please add something to the elevators? So
Please.
because of the emergency situation, we don't have to put it out to bid since it's an emergent situation. We have 4 different companies coming in next week to give us prices on it. Just wanted to make that clear.
If the other 2 are content with that, I am too, but I believe it should be a 5G process, but it scares me a little bit when we leave it out. 'Cause the
I mean,
5G
she's
process
taken
isn't designed to
Trey, she's
protect
talked to
us.
Trey. Trey's the one that said that we could do that.
Trey
So-
doesn't put his name on the ballot like we do to make sure we're up to the systems and the legal way of legislation.
Well, Patsy, I think on the elevators to the issue, it does fall under an emergency.
I think we have to take our chances.
And
Emergency and being that, so it's a
that's a,
handicap accessible.
Exactly.
yeah, so I think we need to find somebody to get 4 bids come in next week and let's go with it. If you'll take, I will, do 15, 16, 18, that we go out to find a engineering firm to handle projects for the commission.
And 22. We can't let.
Yes,
we
and
just
22.
can't let
I'm
people
sorry, I
say-
missed that one. And 22,
Delete.
and 22.
I agree.
So that's my motion.
So the
Well,
motion.
you're right on everything you said, but I want you to understand, I'm protecting you and the commission right now. That's nice of McKinley to give us the thumb up. Also, somebody else, suing us saying, hey, we have the right to do that.
Okay, the motion's been made on 15, 16, 18, and 22 to go out to bid for a firm to do all of this.
To handle Harrison County's present and future. Is that what we're saying, Patsy? Engineering needs?
Well, I love it. I would love it. And then part of that contract, David, if you want to, we have the right to refuse what they send to us and then go ahead and.
That's in the master contracts. We have that presently with Thrasher at the airport. We ask them what to do. They make a presentation. We don't have to accept it.
Okay, I agree with everything you said.
Okay.
And I'm sorry I was difficult, guys. I'm just scared.
No, you're not.
Not scared. I just want to do it right.
I'm fine with that. Susan?
I'm okay. I don't think we need to demo the building, but that's okay.
Well,
You
it
gotta
doesn't
figure out
say
what you
we're,
want- You gotta
we're
figure out
not,
what
we're
you wanna
not,
do
we're
with,
not
I know you're
approving
not,
the
I
demo
know.
today. We're
but
just
We're gonna
taking
spend money
the-
on something. We need to figure out where we're putting those people before we.
But what we're
Demo.
doing is
That's
just
just my
figuring out to hire somebody to
You're
look at
putting the
doing
cart
that.
before the horse there too, so. But okay, that's okay. No, you guys made it. You guys made it.
Wait, let's
No.
talk about this for a second. We don't have to vote on anything until it's presented to us.
That's right,
Right.
exactly.
So we're not gonna.
But we're gonna spend money for somebody to do this work
Susan,
before we don't know where we're gonna put them. But anyway, no, I just said my piece.
Well, let me say
Okay.
mine. That should have been done.
I,
10 years ago.
at least. I agree. But now we want to pick up the horses after the fact. But okay. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. 17, approving to go out to bid for an engineering firm to replace elevators. That's 17, I don't. Okay. Okay, number 19, review, discuss, consider 911 employee survey results.
You don't want to do that today, or you can put it to the next meeting, it's up to
I
you.
really don't have any desire to discuss that
Today,
today or whenever. I've read it, I've looked at it.
we don't need to make any actions on it.
You
Does the
want,
commission-
I think you'd have to look into some of that stuff before you take any action. You guys can. You guys do it. I just,
I'm not
That's-
sure what the debate is here right now, and the administrator, what does this allow you to do that can benefit us?
I mean, we should have done this one as soon as we got this back. In my opinion, you've waited how long?
I mean, I don't know what this agenda is on here for, I don't know what the vote is.
It's because we keep talking about, in multiple conversations, this keeps coming up that we haven't talked about this employee survey. So I'm just like, let's talk about the employee survey. Nobody's ever asked to put it on the agenda for us to discuss it.
I personally didn't think it was the way to go, but that's just me.
To do an employee
Because
survey.
you don't, yeah. I mean, they said what they wanted to say there. There's two sides to every story.
You supported the survey being done, though.
No, not really. No, because I think we could have taken care of it ourselves. It was not expensive, but I just,
Well,
it's personnel, they're personnel matters. I mean, if we need to deal with them, then you have to deal with them on a personnel. I believe.
it's not all personnel. I mean, you have weighted questions here
I know, I've looked at it, but it's been a
that
long time.
scores. I mean,
There was no plan when we did this. We just sent it out and we did and now here we are. When was this? When did we get it? Took forever to get it to begin with, after they talked to them, and now we're here 2 months later wanting to talk about it, or longer, I don't know. And things could have changed within that 2 month period. Just my 2 cents again. But you guys can put whatever you want to out there.
My 2 cents is actually, I don't have a opinion.
this is, I don't know what to say, because this is something that's used every day by businesses looking at their workforce and other school boards looking at their workforce. I mean, it's a very typical survey, and it's to give us a look at how your 911's operating and if we need to make any changes. And where we're having staffing issues, whether we have employee issues. I mean, they've said it all in here. With saying that we are gonna just not look into it, well, that's okay. That's what we want to do, but I think that some of these are pretty eye-opening when it comes to the evaluations.
Nothing I haven't already heard.
Okay, so what are we gonna do to fix it?
Well, I think Laura's working on that.
What are we going to do to fix it? Has Laura come to us and said what she's gonna do to fix it based upon this?
Well, I think the whole problem out there is promotions and supervisors. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. And they don't have enough not supervisors, but it's ranks. They're missing people and some are having to work over and we always need somebody to work. We're always employees. We don't have enough.
And we're looking hard at the pay structure as well. That was one of the issues in the pay.
And I've always said that.
So Patsy, do you know
Nobody
anything
understands
that's
what those people do.
going on out there?
I'm sorry.
We have issues out there.
Yeah. Personnel, I defer to Laura. I haven't discussed anything.
I mean, I'm looking here, morale's low.
And that's
Negativity
for
from
the same reasons I just discussed.
negativity from supervisors, no communication, no appreciation.
It's all related to promotions being made.
A raise, better policies for time off. Attitude to accommodate needed time off. Seems like everyone is depressed and complaining constantly. Communication is a huge issue within the work environment.
Take care of it.
There are a lot of things that are not communicated to the employees. Information tends to be given to the day shift is questionable if it gets passed to the other shifts. I'm just hitting just little highlights.
But I think when you start with the promotions and all this needs to be discussed. With Mr. Bump and whoever the assistant is.
So are we gonna set up a meeting then to do that?
Okay, I'm confused. You want us to do that instead of Laura, instructing Laura to take care of the personnel matter?
Well, I think it would help if she knew what we were looking for.
Just,
I mean, that's our job, is to guide what she should be doing.
well, I think I have had discussions with her about out there several times.
Okay. So,
As you have had discussions with her about various things. I mean,
but I don't expect her to go out and act on those discussions that out there. If I say I want somebody fired or somebody promoted.
well, I would never. Well, when she knows that promotions, there's empty spots for people to be promoted in to, why would she not take care of that?
I think this is just, ignoring this is just one reason.
I didn't ignore it. I looked at it and I've had
But we've
discussions.
never, discussions with who?
Laura,
Okay,
maybe not pertaining to this, but it's everything that's in there. Have I not had discussed most of this with you?
We've had discussion about it.
that's great. So I guess as a commission, you
I
got it
just- we
covered.
just had
You
a
got it
discussion.
covered. We don't need to discuss
We
this.
just had, what did I gave you my thoughts on it.
No, you just said you didn't want to talk about it. So I'm
Well,
fine
what do you
with
want to
it.
talk about? Let's talk about it.
I would like to sit down and go over and how we think we can fix it and why our issues are there, but that's not, seems to be what this commission wants to do.
Well, then let's sit down and do it. Are you gonna sit down with everybody at 911? Are we just gonna sit down with Laura? Are we just sitting down with ourselves or what are we doing?
We've discussed it. I'm ready to move on.
Okay, no action to be taken on 19, I'm assuming. So we're going to number 20, review, discuss, consider approving to go out to bid for a law firm or a human resource firm to update employee handbook.
I know
We haven't done anything as far as updating our employee handbook in several years.
It needs to be done. I agree with this.
There are several sections in the handbook that need to be done. It is Trey's recommendation to go to an outside source to look at it and to evaluate and make recommendations for employee handbook.
Don't you move forward, hiring outside firm as stated by the Kevin administrator, so if they can.
Motion to move forward to go out to bid for a law firm or human resources firm to update the employee handbook, correct? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? None motion carried. Number 21, review, discuss, consider approving to go out to bid for a firm to evaluate county commission operations.
Motion to remove from the agenda.
Motion's been made to remove item number 21 from the agenda. Is there any discussion? What exactly is that? Oh, okay.
So I'm not gonna. Doesn't
So
mean
we had two
anything this
different, so
time.
we had two different,
You did your 911. We should be looking at all our different.
so you want to do that and all the other departments have a survey? Is that what you made the motion to
Yep.
remove all this. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 23, review, discuss, consider FMLA for Heather Mick. Motion to approve FMLA for Ms. Mick. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 24, review, discuss, consider appointment of fiduciary commissioner A and B. What's the pleasure?
Move to approve appointment for A and B.
Motion to approve appointment of A and B on 24. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 25, review, discuss, consider new program GovWell.
Motion approved, the new program, and let me just take the signing, and, we have your blessing. And it's exciting.
It is.
It's opening up everybody to everything we do.
It is, it is. We have Harrison Peacock online as well. If you guys have any questions about it.
I know.
Okay, so the motion's been made to move forward with GovWell. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 26, review, discuss, consider letter to the Alcohol Beverage Control Administration, Jazz Video Investments LLC, High Life Lounge, 141C Elk Creek Road, Mount Clair, West Virginia.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve the letter and affix the appropriate signature.
Yes, ma'am.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Review, discuss, consider request to travel for 911 employees to go to 4 Points by Sheraton in Charleston, West Virginia on March 23rd through the 27th of this year for West Virginia NENA 911 Emergency Technology Symposium for Andy Bailey, Braden Clemma, Jade Hitt, and Trevor Bates. Motion to approve number 27, A through D.
Is this covered in our budget for them, for
Yes.
travel? Okay.
Anything else? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 28, review, discuss, consider request to travel for Julia Pierce and Corey Hagan from 911 to go to Putnam County 911 Center in Winfield, West Virginia on March 2nd through the 5th, 2025 for Class ICS 300, Intermediate ICS for expanding incidents. Motion to approve all individuals for training. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 29, review, discuss, consider access and remediation letter agreements for Tom Shelton, Tammy DeFazio, Richard Judd.
Charlotte. These are, letters of access and remediation, so we can go in and, take asbestos samples so we can do the demos on these houses. And these are all under, for the DEP.
What's the pleasure? Motion to approve to move forward on the 3 properties, is that correct? Okay. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 30, review, discuss, consider the completion of closing of Richard Edison Law for the placement of his farm in farmland protection and pay $300,000. And this money comes out of farmland protection, correct?
This money does come out of farmland protection.
Make sure. Motion to approve the completion of closing of the Richard Edison Law property for $300,000 in the farmland protection.
Charlotte, is this what number is this that we finally closed on? Second, third?
One that we paid out.
Yeah, where we've actually paid out on
At least-
farmland.
This would be the second.
The second.
Yes.
Didn't we have the ward, the
What was number one?
Chong?
We had not paid it.
No,
They voluntarily.
they volunteered. This has been a really hard program to keep implemented. The commission agreed to this 6 years ago. And it seems it's a very time consuming to get one of these to happen, and I'm glad for them that we finally added 2 more. I wish there was a way that, because I don't know how much is in the fund, but it's a lot and it's grown, and I thank the commissioners for making this available for farmland protection. It was something that over the years it was discussed, and I'm glad to see that it's finally accomplishing something. So that's all I have to say about it, Susan.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 31, review, discuss, consider the completion of closing of David Bruce Romine for the placement of his farm in farmland protection and pay $250,000. What's the pleasure? Motion to approve the completion of closing of David Bruce Romine for the placement in his farm land for his farm in farmland protection and pay $250,000. Any discussion? Again, I agree with you, David. This is a great program. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, motion carried. Number 32, review, discuss, consider resolution authorizing the acceptance of funds from the Department of Energy for the 2024 Energy Efficient Conservation Block Grant for an electric all-terrain vehicle to Mountain Harrison County Rail Trails.
Motion to
Oh,
approve
oh.
and also the administrator, go ahead.
This is just, yeah, you're fine, you're fine. I know, exactly. This is just a resolution. Yes, this is the resolution to accept the funds from the Department of Energy, from the Energy Efficient Conservation Block Grant to purchase 2 electric ATVs to be used on the rail trails by our maintenance department. The total was $76,780.
And how much did we pay?
There is zero match.
How much did we pay?
Oh, we paid nothing. It's,
So we can reclaim the one we gave the sheriff before he gets too much further with it.
This is the bicycle.
no,
Oh, these are all.
These are
trans- I'm
the
sorry.
These are all
I'm sorry, because we're doing that too, right?
These are, yes,
Okay.
these are the electric side by sides, but we are moving
Oh,
forward.
yeah, it's too late. They didn't get the right equipment either, so.
So can we,
I just have to.
Which they spec'd out.
so can we drag that ATV back away from them and give it to
We paid for it,
911
didn't we?
or Parks and Rec before they get any further with it?
Have they put the stuff on it they were going to buy?
I don't understand right now what you're saying. This is.
We voted to go out to buy
A side by side to
while we were
patrol,
waiting on this.
well, to patrol the rail
trail.
trail. We bought one. They didn't like because it didn't have a windshield, a roof.
But they spec'd it out.
They spec'd it out. I did not.
So the sheriff's department, and so it has never made the trail.
About right now,
How can Susan and I know this and
because maybe they didn't want me to say what I think about it. Give them the freaking side by side and arrest people for doing smoking crack.
Well,
on
that's
the
what
trail.
you even said that day. You were the one that said, go get
that's it.
one.
They've been patrolling from the car looking from the road.
Hey, so you think?
I'm just saying that it's still sitting in the garage, right?
Let them keep there, please, and if. Jesus.
But we're gonna give them 2 electric ones?
No, the
Well,
electric
these
ones
are
are for our
different.
maintenance
These are
department.
Okay.
I don't give them those guys because they don't want to.
Okay. Might want to specify that those are for maintenance.
I would.
it does say
Oh, it
in
does
the
to maintain,
resolution, it does
okay,
say
it
that.
does
in the
say-
maintenance
okay.
department.
Well, I'm not sure.
Well, we're getting the bicycles for, are they gonna use that with the bicycles too?
What, the bicycle is for the sheriff's office, one or two, I can't remember what it is, and that they can utilize on the road.
Okay, but anyhow, all in favor signify by saying aye.
And that the president fix her signature.
And the president affixes
Yes.
signature, okay. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, motion carried. Number 33, review, discuss, consider resolution authorizing the application for funds from the fiscal year 2025 West Virginia Community Correction Fund for the Harrison County Community Corrections Program.
Yes, this is the resolution to accept the funds from the West Virginia Community Corrections Program not to exceed $250,000.
Gary's the best, motion approved.
Motion to approve the resolution for the application for funds from the
Have the
community corrections
president fix her signature.
and have the president affix the signature. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 34, review, discuss, consider resolution authorizing the application for funds from the West Virginia Justice Reinvestment Initiative Treatments Supervision Grant Program.
Yes, and lastly, this is the resolution to accept the grant funds from the West Virginia Justice Reinvestment Initiative Program not to exceed $125,000. It's going to cover 2 community engagement specialists as well as an additional peer recovery coach.
And this is for community corrections.
Yes. The Day Report Center.
Okay, what's the pleasure?
Thank you so much.
Needs to approve the resolution and for the president to fix her signature.
Okay, motion to approve the application for the funds for the West Virginia Justice Reinvestment. So on, when affix the appropriate signature. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
I have nothing today, Madam President.
Commissioner Treecost?
Madam Administrator, we don't receive full information from the city of Bridgeport that we requested months ago. Now that you're sitting there, we'll have a month to review it. Please put on the agenda and begin the process to turning over all the information to Trump.
Yes.
Commissioner
All the
Hinkle?
information to who?
Charleston.
I'm not sure I understand, but okay. So it's gonna be on next meeting's agenda.
Yeah, we don't want to sue one of our cities, especially the city of the state of West Virginia, do we? There's a reason why they're not getting this information with us. I mean, it's law, you have to. We can't have things from the citizens.
Is this the FOIA? I'm sorry, I missed the first.
That's what I'm trying to, it's a
Well,
FOIA.
they're supposed, I mean, they haven't got it yet. I mean, he said they were sending it to Trey. And I spoke to Trey yesterday and he didn't have it.
Have we finished our FOIA yet?
We have produced some documents to, for part of our FOIA and have been filtering them over, yes.
How much longer is that gonna be?
I'll have to double check with Trey. I forget how many pages he said he has sent over already.
And they're paying Trey to do the research, or we paying Trey?
We are paying Trey to do the research. They paid to have all, I believe there were like 10 boxes of papers. They paid to have them scanned and digitized for us, and then we were able to filter through and do a search, redact anything that we needed to. So we have been
Did you
trying to
get-
keep them updated along the
Could
process.
you get each of us a cost to date that Trey has expended and we've expended on this FOIA for Crumbaker?
I can get you Trey's expenses to date with this FOIA and also Ptolemy's with Steptoe and Johnson
On the FOIA?
on the FOIA.
Or David's right on this. We do need to know what the expense is. At the same time, that's also more reason than ever why Bridgeport has to comply just like we are. It costs money to do this, but we're open government and we should be transparent.
Yeah, because it's back to, if they're gonna work something out. I don't wanna keep paying Trey for the next month to keep looking that they're working something out. So it's kind of a catch.
Commissioner Hinkle?
Don't think so.
When did they sign the short line in Clarksburg Water Board?
On Friday.
On Friday. So we're starting down the journey of Clarksburg Water Board taking over the short line, which hopefully will help Lumberport out. That's the plan anyways. So I'm excited about that. Well, I didn't, it was, but I'm just glad it happened.
No,
It's
thank
happening.
you, and I'm tickled to death to hear that, as you know, that one of my concerns has always been that the cost just keeps going up and up and up as everybody sticks their finger in it, and people in Lumberport can't afford
Right.
to keep paying an expensive water bill, and hopefully now that we get this water short straightened out, that we can find some way to
And I think everybody's put their time in for this. For
get them a
Lumberport.
decent sewage system other than pumping into a tank.
And I gotta give credit to Jason at the Clarksburg Water Board. He played a huge part in this too. So, it's huge.
Yes, Short Line and Clarksburg Water Board officially entered into a maintenance and operational agreement on Friday. And so that's an exciting
Again
step
in
moving
July.
forward.
So then,
Yes.
this
effective
next
July
steps will
1st.
come.
Yes.
That's all I have. Motion to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed?
Thank you, Charlotte. Keep turning them down. Sorry. Christina, thank you. Keep providing money. Whatever. Now, Jake,